what's up, everybody? And it's Thunder Hartley here. Anyway, so I'm guessing I'm gonna be doing some interviewing here. So I got the cameraman. He's gonna ask me some questions that were asked by the public. So I am going to answer the public tonight. Go ahead, man. Go ahead and ask your questions.
How did you first get into boxing?
It's a funny story, actually. I was in jail, and I ended up getting jumped in there because of a situation that happened. But anyway, so got jumped in there, and then the guy in there, he knew about Stacy Goodson, and told me when I got out to call him up. So I called Stacy. Me and Stacy Goodson, we actually met up at the hamburger barn here in Fort Smith. And then we started talking, and he said he had a fight for me. So I believe that was in June or something. I'm not real sure. I'm not real sure the exact date, but I know it's June in 2003. I had a fight over here at the Fort Smith at the Fort Smith World Class Fitness Center, and I made my pro debut against Roger the Hitman Sanders. So that was, I had my first fight there, and then it happened ever since. Now, 15 years later, here I am with 31 professional fights underneath my belt. Still fighting. I got a fight next month, hopefully. So, so that's how that happened.
Who was your toughest opponent?
Toughest opponent that I would have to say would be, let's see here, I'm trying to think of all the, actually the toughest opponent would have been Jason Micro Tyson McClear. He took me all 4 rounds. The first time in my career, I went all 4 rounds, and I couldn't put him down, and he couldn't put me down. That was actually a really good fight that night. That was the fight of the year. So I would have to say Jason McClear would be the toughest one.
Who was your easiest opponent and why?
Easiest opponent was Jeff Lee. One of them. Jeff Lee was one of them. And the other one would be Charlie Zellenoff. Everybody knows about that one. But Jeff Lee, he was the easiest. All he would do is just kept turning around. He never would, he was kind of like Charlie in a way, except for at least Charlie would swing on you. But Jeff Lee, he never did. He just kept covering himself. And, turning away from me until the ref called. So I would have to say Jeff Lee would be the easiest opponent.
Who's the best boxer you faced skill-wise?
The best face skill-wise would be Brian Pappas. He's for an old man, he's pretty skilled at what he does. It's kind of hard to get a good to tee off on him like I can on most of our opponents.
Who is the hardest puncher you've faced in the ring?
The hardest puncher would have been, which is a funny story about that guy, would be Rodney, the Pitbull Jones. He actually hit me pretty freaking hard. I remember that fight. It happened at the convention center. I remember him hitting me so hard that I flew from the white corner to the red corner, never touching the ground. He did that 2 or 3 times, and I still just kept getting up and getting up. But yeah, I had to definitely say Rodney the Pitbull Jones was the hardest puncher I had to face.
Tell us about the Charlie Zellenoff, what went on immediately before, and did he try to intimidate you?
He tried to intimidate me through Yahoo, or through YouTube, not Yahoo, what the hell, through YouTube, punching the walls, punching little dummies that he made, handmade. As far as that goes, no, he never really intimidated me. Now, when he first got down to Paris, Arkansas, he was in there hitting the bag as hard as he could, trying to show off. But, other than that, that whole thing was weird. don't know, he got greedy or something. Started turning around on me. So, Stacy Goodson showed Stacy Goodson the video of him, and he thought he had something. Charlie Zelenoff was actually brought in to beat me. That's the whole funniest thing. But I'm to find out that I beat him, and it pissed a lot of people off. But yeah, he never intimidated me. I never was scared of him.
Tell us about the TPS.
The Trailer Park Series. That was actually started by Huda Crane. Huda Crane started that, going out with Stacy Goodson. And I was pretty much the first guy to start the whole series. I had two titles. I had the lightweight titles and I had the welterweight title. I was also the longest holding title holder on both titles. So I still have one of them. I still have the one that I beat Charlie with. Let's see here. Dumas beat me for the one that I won against Jeff Lee. So the Trailer Park Series was actually a pretty good thing back in the day. I mean, we had a lot of people wanting to fight. The whole plan was for it the big as it got, and the whole plan was to have a bunch of fights. We've had one where I was supposed to fight Paul Gardner, Hillbilly Pimp, but come to find out that he had there was no way that Stacy was gonna put that fight on after he set it up, and then realized that that it wasn't a very good matchup. But as far as that one, that's where Brian Striggy came through. Blocky Barnes came in. I mean, a lot of different people, came through and tried out for the TPS series. So that's how that started.
Who is Rufus, and will he fight again? Why or why not?
Rufus is a guy from Ohio that lived with his mom. Started out living with his sister, but I guess something happened, and whatever happened there, moved back in with his mom. Rufus wanted to fight through the TPS series actually for Stacy Goodson, but he ended up pissing Stacy off to where Stacy would not let him fight. So the plan was for him to take a fight that's outside the TPS to show Stacy that he was willing to fight, because we had a lot of people claiming, oh, they want to fight, he never show up. So Rufus took a fight with Jamie Love. I set that fight up. He got paid $1,400 on that fight. I helped him out doing that to try to get him to, try to get a fight. But as far as that goes, I know he wants to still fight. Sometimes he talks about it, but in reality, he feels that that is not in his cards, so he's doing a different direction besides fighting.
You had Blackie Barnes execute a perfect plan against Brian Strage.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. That pissed Stacy the hell off. I remember that too. For some odd reason, I had a vendetta against Stacy. Me and Stacy are always trying to piss each other off for some reason. I have no idea why, but yeah, that fight happened. Striggy was supposed to fight Robbie Crawley, and I was supposed to go get him. I went to his house. He never showed. He wasn't there. I couldn't find him. Nobody could get a hold of him. So I was scheduled to fight Blackie Barnes that night, and he was scheduled to fight Brian Striggy was supposed to fight Robbie Crawley. Well, I couldn't get an opponent, so Stacy gave Striggy a choice, and Striggy donated some boxing gloves there. Basically paid his own way from Washington. Came all the way down this way to fight. So Stacy gave him a choice. He could either fight me, or he could fight Blackie Barnes. Well, he decided thought he could take an easy win against Blackie Barnes. He didn't want to fight me. So I was like, okay. So I talked to Blackie Barnes, and I said, hey, do you want to win this fight? He's like, yeah, do you think I could? I said, if you listen to every word I say, you can do this. He said, all right, well, work my corner. I said, all right, no problem. So it was just me working his corner. I told him exactly what to do. There is a video, a YouTube video of that fight. And right before the fight, Stacy's interviewing me, and I done said exactly what was gonna happen. Um, and it come to find out, Blackie Barnes listened to every word I said and took Brian Strickey out by knockout in 19 seconds. That is the shortest fight in the TPS history. I am the reason that Blackie Barnes won that fight. I am the reason that Brian Strickey went home empty-handed that night without another win. So, therefore, that is exactly what happened.
Did you ever think about becoming a trainer?
Um, yeah, I still am actually. I'm thinking about running my own stable of fighters, and doing something differently that's similar to the TPS but different. I'm actually wanting to do some things to where, I can rent a house for the contestants to actually to compete in, live together. And they compete in there, and then whoever wins wins it all, get the contract for the Kid Thunder's promotion.
What are some strengths and weaknesses you've seen in the past opponents you fought?
Well, there for a while, they were pretty good at their strengths were pretty good at keeping me out from coming in on them after they learned who I was. Kept me from just being a brawler on them. The weaknesses were their chin. A lot of the opponents I had weak chins. I can honestly say though, after I learned how to go southpaw, it seemed that people had a lot more difficult time into trying to beat me as long as I went southpaw. So I have learned how to do both. I can fight right-handed and I can fight southpaw. A lot of fighters these days don't know how to fight a southpaw. They're so used to fighting right-handers that you get a left-hander in there, they just kind of takes them a minute to figure it out. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. As far as that goes, some of the opponent's weaknesses are the chin. A lot of them. I know, like Brian. David Dumas. His weaknesses, he just couldn't. He had a problem keeping himself open and taking a shot. He could take a shot. Don't get me wrong, but his chin wasn't as strong as he thought it was.
What advice would you give someone fighting Charlie?
The fight I'll get somebody fighting Charlie is pretty much just stay on him. Keep him closed off. The more you close that ring off on him, cut it off on him, the more he panics. Charlie will panic because he's to me personally, I think he's claustrophobic. He can't be cornered. So if you corner him and you just keep swinging, he'll get frustrated with himself and he'll end up quitting. Or if you can hit him hard enough, you get a good contact with him, you may be able to just go ahead and knock his ass out.